Boy, do I have a story for you today. For the past 30 days, I've been on an investigation that has took me around the world. You may think I'm crazy for this, and I fully accept that responsibility. But what if I told you, oh God, what if I told you the game that plays below the Family Guy and South Park TikToks that you've all been viewing is a speedrunning phenomenon? And I know you've all seen it. It's the one where the guy's running up and down, he's jumping coins. I'm not talking about Mario here. I'm talking about Subway Surfers. If you go to any category in Subway Surfers speedrunning, it is largely dominated by just one country, and that country is Brazil. Gaming in Brazil is huge, but not so much in the traditional sense. Sure, people still play on consoles and gaming PCs, but when a high-end PC costs 10 times the minimum wage, your house, your left testicle, and your nan, people are obviously going to start to look elsewhere, and so they should. Just to drive home how big mobile gaming actually is in Brazil, Brazil has over 53 million mobile gamers according to stats published by Newzoo in 2021, which is almost the same as PC and console both combined. Mobile gaming in 2023 across the world has never been so alluring. You've got Android, our working class hero, working tirelessly to put hundreds of thousands of free-to-play games on mobile, and obviously one of them, which we're going to be talking about today, is Subway Surfers. After we all became shut-ins in 2020, gamers had to find a way to occupy their time, whether it was becoming the best in League of Legends or achieving third place in the Nintendo DS hash brown training for McDonald's Crew Trainer game, which I currently hold third place for, so I'm a bit of a speedrunning legend myself. I feel like I'm qualified to say gaming and competition, particularly speedrunning, has always been intertwined. If you're like me, when I started investigating Subway Surfers and the speedrunning scene that was forming around it, I just had one question. How on earth do you speedrun something that, in theory, if you're good enough, can just last forever? To my surprise, there's actually quite a lot of ways you can speedrun Subway Surfers. What they all boil down to is how long you can last as opposed to how quick you can finish. That was a sex joke. And there isn't just one method to speedrun this game. This game has plenty of categories, and I've got a few of them here just to list, but we've got coins, no coins, any percent, all power-ups, and these categories have subcategories like hoverboard, keyboard, 100 coins, 500 coins. This community eats more than the average American yearly. The leaderboards for this game, especially the top 50s, are largely populated by Brazilians. At the time of this video, no coins with no hoverboard top 50s is 62% Brazilian. No other country compares. It's not even close. To immerse myself in this community, I only really had two options to go forward. I either A, had to play Subway Surfers and try to learn the speedrunning methods, or B, contact someone from the community to really help me get an understanding of what is happening here. And it's quite obvious as to what I chose. So I went out and sent messages to about 30 of the top players, and I waited a few days. Another few days went past, and I received no messages. You've actually got to be fucking me! Look, do you see that? I was literally being held back by someone fucking before the ring, dude. To be honest, if someone was messaging me about Subway Surfers on speedrun.com, I would assume they're actively trying to hack my Discord account, or there's a pipe bomb in my mailbox. Either one is quite as likely. Thankfully, a German speedrunner by the name of
Der Weltenficke. The world fuck.
He messaged me and frankly saved the video. He provided me so much information that was unavailable online, so if you guys could, I've left a link in the description for his speedrunning profile. I'd really appreciate it if you went and checked him out. According to him, the Subway Surfers development team noticed that the game was trending on speedrun.com and actively capitalized on this opportunity. They added new features, optimization, and attracted even more players to the speedrunning scene. Players started to notice that using a keyboard or an Android emulator on your PC was far superior to just simply tapping on your phone. There was practically no delay, and this made hard maneuvers that used to be thought of as impossible suddenly possible. Before this discovery, players were getting short runs in categories like no coins, but nowadays players are lasting up to 20, almost 30 minutes for one player in the no coins category. As per
Der Weltenficke.
Request. He did want me to mention that there is a new category called any percent. When I went to look at it, he is currently on top, so I can only assume that is an open invitation to go and fuck him up. So if you want to take the opportunity, the world is your oyster. So I felt a lot more positive after speaking to our German friend, as he gave us a lot of insider information that I couldn't have found anywhere else on the internet. But at the end of the day, this video was focused on Subway Surfers and Brazil's domination of this scene. So I felt like I'd be doing a disservice if I released it without speaking to any of the players from Brazil. To be honest, I was at a point where I was going to scrap this video because I didn't want to release it with no input from them. I felt like that would be pretty disingenuous if I did that. So I waited it out. I went outside, I cooked dinner, I got hard stock bronze in League of Legends. Fuck! I'm trolling! And nearly a month went past without a DM. Until one afternoon when I was sitting on the shitter. Hey guys, sorry to pause your viewing experience. I actually can't show myself sitting on the toilet, so I'm actually sitting in the sink right now instead. I hope that's alright, YouTube. At 31 minutes past 4, I checked my speedrun.com DMs, and there it was. I had been saved. I got a message from someone known as BaldEduardo. BaldEduardo is a Brazilian speedrunner who is the second best player in the no coins category. So you can imagine my sigh of relief when I received a DM from him, and he agreed to have a few quick questions shot his way about the scene and how he felt about it, how he got into it. It was quite apparent at first that English wasn't his native language. You know, ask me to speak in a foreign language. All I can say is Ik ben de milkman in Dutch. So I hired my friend who is proficient in Brazilian Portuguese and English to translate that conversation for us. So I first of all wanted to know something pretty simple. All I asked was how he got into Subway Surfers, how he got into speed running Subway Surfers in particular, to which he gave me the pretty blunt reply that he saw some of his friends play it in class and thought it was pretty funny, which to be honest I can kind of relate to. That's the only way I got into the hash brown speed running for the McDonald's training game. I didn't play it in class because when I was in class, you had no games on your phone. All you had was Snake, and that was if you were lucky. I wanted to know next in his opinion why he thought that Brazil was so consistent in dominating Lee's leaderboards. And I'd previously hypothesized in the video that it could be due to a large population of mobile gamers, but I wanted to be as unbiased as possible, and I didn't pose the question in a way that would lead him to my assumptions. He told me that Brazil just likes challenges and they were more persistent in what they do. I can't really argue with that as a British person, as our last Prime Minister lasted less time than a wet lettuce. It must just be the Brazilian genetics that they have up on us. I can't really argue. I wanted to lastly know in his opinion if he thinks that the scene is still continuing to grow or if it's slowly dwindling in players, and I kind of had my suspicions that it was the latter, as runs were still being submitted every other day, but it was nowhere near the level of activity that it saw in previous months. Thankfully, BaldEduardo was quite honest with me. He said he felt like the scene was quite dead at the moment, but competition still remains persistent and competitive amongst the few that still play, which is always nice to hear. Trends come and die, and Subway Surfers could still pick up steam in the future. Who knows, maybe this video might inspire some people to go out and try speedrunning Subway Surfers of their own. That's all I can hope for. That's where me and BaldEduardo said our goodbyes, as that was the last question I had for him. He did have one question for me of what it was like to live in the UK, to which I replied it was quite cold, to which he followed up with lol and then a bunch of money emojis. But there was still one thing missing that I hadn't actually speedrun the game myself. I wanted to finish that last bit of immersion and become a speedrunner in Subway Surfers. I downloaded Subway Surfers for the very first time.